Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the bruised beauty herself, Sandy Reevy. Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
It is episode 235, January 23 in 23. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we have Tuesday, January 24th, Sun sextile Jupiter.
Take a big leap of faith.
Sandy's favorite day, Thursday, January 26th, Venus ingress Pisces.
In exultation.
Sunday, January 29th, Sun trine Mars.
Steer ahead.
And Mercury trine Uranus.
Third and last time.
Then in Talisman time, Sandy has finished up one to prepare for an educational long-distance journey and upcoming to gain success through decisive action. Then on the horizon, we have our 2023 year ahead forecast, our retreats, and in our house, we have a special interview with a Mexico retreat attendee that we'd love to share with you. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you.
Hello, bruised beauty.
I know. And I volunteered for this.
Yes, mouth surgery does give you bruises on your face.
I mean, the retractor itself just pulled my face apart.
Oh, well,
So I'm swollen also.
We won't make you talk too long this episode since
Thank
you are
goodness
healing.
it's a shorter week.
It is. Okay, so going direct to you all, don't forget that we live off of your feedback, your comments, so keep those coming. Alex@intentionbeats.com. I'm going to save the going direct today for the end of the episode in our house where we talked to Leslie, who just got back from the Mexico retreat and wanted to share some feedback.
I know. It was great. It was great listening to that.
Yes. So let's move into the transits where we start the week off with Tuesday, January 24th, Sun sextile Jupiter. Sounds like a good day.
Yeah, it is a good day. This is taking a big leap of faith. You know, you get what you put into life, right? So if you get a yes today, if you ask your gut sense a question, right? See if you get a yes today. Because, you know, who do we believe in? If we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't believe in ourselves, what do we believe in?
Right.
So this is taking that big leap of faith for self.
And I really like this day because I just recently was reading up on this kind of psychological phenomenon that from whatever behaviors we're creating in our life recently is actually how our brain reacts to things. So if we are disengaged with work, if we're not really happy to be in the situation that we're in, our brain is actually in that space and reacting to things in the future that way. So if we can take that big leap of faith, say in the morning when we don't even want to get out of bed, when we are just like, we got cinder blocks on our feet, that if we make a pact with ourselves of doing one thing on our self-care list or our routine, that just from that one behavior being changed, it actually alters our brainwaves and what's happening behind the scenes and subconsciously in our brain. So when we make that big leap of faith, because those cinder blocks don't really want to go on that walk around, once we do, we feel the accomplishment and then it starts kind of shifting tides. So yeah, I really like that day.
Yeah, this is a day where it kind of reminds me of what I say this, I've been saying this for 20-ish years, maybe 19 years, is when I get out of bed and I make my bed in the morning and I say to my pillow, you know, I won't think of you the rest of the day.
Until it's time.
Until I see you and I lay my head down here in, 15, 16 hours, and I'll have some stories for you. So let me go develop them now and see what they are. And it was really weird this morning because, I live in a townhouse, multiple levels.
Yeah.
And I left the third floor to come down to the second floor to get my coffee, right? We work in the first floor. And I was leaving the third floor and I said to my third floor, please, I'll see you later tonight. Because, by kind of that attitude of, something's going to happen today, right? Lots of things are going to happen, things because I can make them happen.
Right.
And things that will come in that I don't expect to have happen.
Correct. Yes.
And let me see how I treat that. Right.
Yeah. And report back.
Yeah.
And you're kind of creating that touch point of accountability of, I'll keep you up to date.
Yeah. I'll see you later. I'll connect with you when I'm done with my day of work downstairs.
So let's move on to Thursday, January 26th, your favorite day, Venus ingress Pisces.
Yeah, I do love this day. This is her exaltation. So this is an exaltation when a planet goes into their exaltation, which for Venus, it's Pisces.
Being welcomed back into their kingdom.
Yeah, and it's where they're favored and honored, where they're highly respected. So, I suggest to set up a Venus altar. Set up a Venus altar. Say hi to her daily when you pass her and make a request because she favors it when you honor her. So you have 3 weeks to ask of Venus of her properties that she is able to bestow on you. Right. And so you just honor her. That's it. That's all she is requesting. So, by setting up an altar of something, all the Venusian qualities and maybe an apple, maybe something green because Venus rules green and, Venus rules Friday. And so when we start this next week on Thursday, the 26th, or this week, set up something that has a, maybe an Aphrodite type picture, some shells, and just ask her for something every day for 3 weeks while she's there, because she's able to provide. Yeah. It's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. And also Sunday, January 29th, Sun trine Mars.
Steer ahead. So here we got the sun. It's Mars's first aspect that he's receiving from any other planet.
Since going direct.
His retrograde and going direct. So, and it's a trine, so in harmony with the sun, the leader. So use all types of communication skills to bestow, movement forward, right? So anything that you have studied recently, I've got how many books opened around my house. And I'm really, I'm done with I'm done with half of the books that I got on mythology for Christmas.
That's amazing.
Because that's all I want to do. No. And I spent 10 days in Mexico, not reading mythology. So it's almost like I'm moving forward, getting more information, right?
Totally soaking it up.
Yeah. It's I can't get enough. So I'm steering ahead where I want to plow through.
And so that same day, Sunday, January 29th, Mercury trine Uranus.
Okay, so this is the third and final pass at 14 degrees of where Venus was, 14, 15 degrees. Because Mercury's been retrograde, right? Mercury is now out of... this is the third pass here. And to act or finalize those 2023 intentions. Early on, I was on some radio shows about intention for the year.
Right.
And it was like, yes, it's always a good, the first always seems to be the first of the year is a good time to set intention. However, this year particularly, wait until Mars goes direct and Mercury goes direct. And this is Mercury making this really nice trine to Uranus. So it's about, really brilliant thoughts and ideas and genius situations, something that allows you to do something completely new. And remember, it's a trine. So they work well together. So now as you can act and finalize, what are those 2023 intentions? And, do you have any? Do I have any? Yeah, I do. right? I'm finalizing, the rest of my 2023 retreats.
Right.
We're in hot talk, finishing up those, and we'll be done by next week. So, just really cool. Really cool. Pay attention to that.
We get a little bit of a delayed, opportunity. If the beginning of the year was a little bit crazy, we now get to
now's the time
restart.
To now consider this the 29th of January. Consider that January 1st.
Okay. That's
perfect. When you're supported by the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Talisman times. It is a short week, so we are already on to Talisman times. You finished up one Saturday, January 21st, and that is to prepare for an educational long-distance journey.
I sign up excitedly for a cultural quest. This action permits me to learn and lean into new wisdom. I learn from this endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
This is just really nice. It's a brand new moon in Aquarius.
Right.
Sitting right on the angle of the descendant. And it's making this really nice sextile to Jupiter in the 9th house of wisdom, philosophy, and international travel.
And it seems like there's going to be a community involved somehow.
There's other people involved.
Right.
Yeah.
And that sounds really exciting, especially that big Aquarius type of influence there is going to be that community giving forward. Is that what it's called?
Paying it forward.
Paying it forward. Thank you.
Yeah.
And just learning those new eclectic things that are so intriguing.
That you don't know. It's
right.
different cultures. I mean, try and put, all the trips and retreats that we go on internationally.
Right.
I already have an area in my house. When I go to Bali, I've got a site set that I want to put together a new altar.
Ooh, some like decor.
Yeah. So I want
Nice.
to find some particular things. So it's bringing some of that back. So it's part of my life.
Yes.
It's part of my daily.
And really, the things in Bali are absolutely amazing, hand done. You get to meet the artists. You actually get to go into their workshop and see them carving these beautiful sculptures or tables or whatever they are. And we'll chat more about Bali soon. So let's move on to the upcoming Talisman time, Wednesday, January 25th, to gain success through decisive action.
As a successful craftsman or craftswoman, I perform my duties with physical action, strength, and focus for my best result. This is Mars. This is a really interesting one. Mars is direct at this point. He's up on the midheaven, sitting right at the pinnacle, at the apex of the top for respect and reputation. And he's sitting with the fixed star Aldebaran for victory.
And I really like this because what it does is it's reminding us that when we are performing our duties, we are bringing the action, the strength, and focus all there at that moment, because that's what a true craftsman does. That's what a true scholar, professional, they give whatever is in front of them, their 100% attention, focus, strength, everything, because that's what you do. You get kind of lost in it.
That's the professionalism. You were just mentioning.
That's how you're a book and a half in a matter of 10 days, 15 days. Yeah.
Yeah. And just by calling somebody, if you needed to get a repairman in, which I might have to get a refrigerator repairman in.
I know.
But I'm expecting him. I'm paying his service. I've called him. He is known for this, to perform his duties with physical action, showing up on time, his strength bringing, and his tools and his focus for his best result. So by having, I really love this one, and we won't be able to get this one. I don't know when. It may be in 2 years' time, but maybe not. When Mars comes along in that area of the sky to beyond Aldebaran, which is one of the royal stars. So this is very special.
Yes.
This piece here. So this would be a great pre-sale.
Beautiful. Yes. We'll have that on the site. Just click on the link.
It's on already?
Talisman of the month is to believe in the value of persistence and hard work. This is going to be the last week that you can get this on special for 222, and click that link. Hurry and get it before the end of this month. On the horizon, we finished up our 2023 year ahead forecast. That was with Sandy and Susan. That link is in the show notes. And also our platform is changing. So if you want to be around for the future monthly forecasts, you're going to have to go on to our patreon.com account, Chatting with the Stars, and sign up there so that you can get access to all of the juicy, wonderful astrological knowledge that Sandy and Susan have to share with you.
And actually, it's a really good opportunity to get your teeth into learning astrology a bite at a time. Astrology can be overwhelming.
Right.
If you're trying to buy so many books and trying to read page one, by joining particularly that $30 a month level, you'll get the cheat sheet, you get all of our webinars, you'll actually get to see how it's actually working in a like a learning practiced educational way.
Wow,
versus,
that's a lot of words.
Right. It's instead of like study, read, memorize.
Right.
You'll get to work with it.
It's like a live application.
Yeah.
And also with that Big Dipper Patreon tier, you're going to be able to get into what we're calling the star seat with Sandy and Susan, where once a month when they're doing the forecasts, there is a chance for you to get some questions answered for Sandy and Susan to look at your chart specifically, and that is all included in the monthly price. Yeah. So it's a great opportunity. We would love to have you over there and keep growing this wonderful community. So don't forget, 2023 Bali Retreat is April 1st to the 11th. It is coming up. It is almost 2 months away. So this is the time. This is prime time to get flights, to get things organized. So we would love to have you if you are interested. Don't forget that we have a free 15-minute call that you can ask Sandy questions, talk about what is the itinerary like, what should I be expecting or packing, or what type of costs am I looking at, and you just sign up right there. You can go to intentionbeads.as.me/retreat, or of course, the link is in the show notes. Okay, let's
so
move
much
on.
Easier.
Yes.
Dot what, dot this, dot that.
Go to the show notes, click the link. Let's move into our house. So everybody, welcome into our house. Today we're excited to have a special guest here with us. We have Leslie, who joined in on the Mexico 2023 retreat just this past week now.
Right, yeah.
And so happy to have you in.
Thanks for having me.
It's really interesting, Leslie, to run an astrology retreat and to have a beautiful, wonderful astrologer to sign up like you did and brought your 40 plus years of experience and brought that into the group.
Well, and it was certainly my honor and my pleasure.
So
it was fantastic.
So I want to just get to know a little bit about your experience. I was not there this year for the second year in a row, but I wanted to first kind of ask you a few questions. What made you sign up for the retreat?
Well, it's simple. I was called to do it. It's when you get that feeling in your gut that you're supposed to do something, and not that I didn't have various challenges, both internal and external, about whether I was going to actually be there. But I knew all along it was something I was supposed to do. It's just that I'm also very good at not always doing the things I'm called to do. So
I hear you. I hear you.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and how did you first get in touch with Sandy? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yeah. So I've walked by Intention Beach several times at the Northwest Astrological Conference. So I've seen you in passing. At this time around, your mom wasn't there working, so she was floating around. And was floating around.
True.
Floating around.
Just a typical Pisces, Dave. Just a typical Pisces day. Anyway, so the conference organizer, Laura Nalbandian, introduced us on Thursday night, I think.
Yep.
And we became friends in about 2 minutes or less.
It's true. And we were inseparable the entire weekend.
Yes.
Well, okay. So let's get back to the Mexico retreat. Name what your favorite thing, or maybe a few of your favorite things that happened or that you experienced during it.
Well, first of all, I have to say there really wasn't anything about the whole thing that I didn't like. A little bit challenging in the food department, but that had nothing to do with the actual retreat itself. So I love the dancing part because I love to dance. And so
you got moves, sister. You got some hip moves.
Yeah, so that I enjoyed that. I think it was your meditation, Alex, in which I had a full body ecstatic experience. The first one I've ever had.
Wait, for real?
For real.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's my next question. Tell me about that, because let me give a little bit of context to the listeners. The dancing that Leslie's talking about, we usually plan each of our retreats, no matter what the theme is, we go full on into that theme. So Mars is all about energy and action and self-proclamation, basically, in Mars and Gemini. So dancing, that very embodiment of that action, is what we were doing before the workshop every day. And I also created a candle gazing meditation that I recorded just for the group. And that was all focused on the flame of kind of sparking an internal flame within ourselves. So I want to know more, Leslie.
Well, and for me, because I'm also psychic, I don't always spend a lot of time in my body. So it was even more astounding to me to have a full body ecstatic experience. In fact, I was a little annoyed that the meditation was over, because I thought it was just building right at me. And let me explain what I mean by that. I'm going to be really direct and say this is not an orgasm. It's where your whole body just lights up, and there are waves of energy that started at my feet and moved up to my head. And I felt alive in every part of my body. And I think it was, so I don't remember what day that meditation, don't remember what day it was.
It was Thursday.
But it seemed to be building. The energy was, for me, obviously built and built and built until that particular moment.
Well, it's interesting because we did schedule that afternoon when Mars has just stationed direct, that we wanted to reignite our internal flames because Mars was moving forward. And so, doing that in the timing, astrology, you know more than I know, but to time things properly is intentional.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. I am really so honored and excited to hear that that's your experience of my meditation, and I don't get those messages often, so it is so cool for me to hear. So thank you. Tell me, what are your biggest takeaways from the retreat?
I know this is going to sound rather and I don't mean it, because when someone says, well, I went and did this and it changed my whole life. I've told people in my life that this was a life-changing retreat for me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because for the first time in my life, because I've had a lot of, yeah, I'm weird. So
No, you're so right on.
I love weird.
and I haven't always, I was a journalist for a long time, and I worked in the media business, and thankfully before the internet really took off. So I'm an Aquarius, and I have a lot of planets in Aquarius, and so my whole life I've looked for situations, and because I like to connect with people, and have not always felt both acknowledged and celebrated all at the same time in a group of people. This is the first time for me in my life.
Oh,
and
wow.
so I will be 73 next month, even though
Woo-hoo!
that doesn't mean anything to me at all. So it shifted me on an inner level, like to the point where I just want to live in, and I know, again,
Keep going. No one's judging.
I want to live from my center of joy, because I really am a joyful person. And so I want to live from that place. It also, like, I fulfilled it, because part of the Mars process was Sandy invited us to take a dare, and I took a big one. And so, and it just all, like, it's funny because Sandy was talking the next day about the aspect that was culminating that day, which was, a lovely thing. It formed some really lovely things in my chart and made everything so easy for me. And so when I took that dare, it was the same as when I asked Sandy if I could, facilitate something at the retreat, and she ended up including me a lot, which I felt so honored to be asked to do that, and to be able to, because I do readings and I do sessions, and my job is always to support people where they are. Not where they should be, not what they ought to do, where they actually are. And so it was, and I felt like, just for those listening, I did have a serious fall about 5 months ago, fell on my face, literally, and had a concussion. And I really felt like, wow, my ability just showed up like strong, and I felt something, because I am a person who suffers from performance anxiety. So, and that was the other thing. Like the day I was supposed to present, I came down to breakfast. I took a look at everybody and I started to cry, and all I was met with was love and support. And so I really do want to acknowledge that Sandy is very good at drawing people together and creating sacred space.
Thank you.
I know from my own experience in facilitating, that is not, people think it's just really easy. It's just like, and it's not. To hold space for a number of different people, all coming from different places. However, I did think there was a theme, and everybody there was trying really hard to connect to their Mars in a healthier, more positive, life-affirming way. So that's the thing that brought us together. But Sandy brought us together to start out with.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I noticed that too within all of our group work, that people are there and people are engaging and they're working on themselves. And that's really a great way for people to come together in a group, is to really show up as your authentic self and say, I'm doing this work, show up, wholeheartedly. If that comes out in tears, or that comes out in however it comes out, right? However that comes out. There
was a lot of laughter too. A lot of love singing. You can't always get what you want. That was,
oh my gosh, we sang that to death.
We sang it more than once. That was the only time we recorded it, though, I have to tell you, Alex.
It's true. Yeah. And so I guess I'll end with one last question. If there's someone who is hearing about this retreat and say they're not so certain about whether or not to go, what would you tell them?
What would I tell them? Take a chance, take a risk, vote for yourself. Like vote for yourself. Like the other thing I took away was the recognition that I haven't always been my own best friend. So, and that, the wonderful thing about the retreats is there's intense immersion and things followed by a space, space so that people don't feel like they're caught in a regimented program where you can't really breathe, because you have to breathe at some point during this process. And so you get to enjoy your surroundings. You get to just, hang out with people, spend time by yourself. It seems to flow so easily. So, my recommendation is, if any part of you is calling you to go and experience something, like, just don't vote for, again, like I said, pick yourself.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Because you don't know exactly what will transpire, but I can guarantee you that something will be liberated.
Right. Yeah, I like that. Raise your hand, right? Say yes.
Yeah.
Take a chance. You can't win if you don't buy a ticket.
Right. Well, Leslie, thank you so much. That's all the time we have. And we appreciate you coming on here and sharing your thoughts and feedback with us. And until next time, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Leslie. I'll see you soon.
So nice to have Leslie talk all about that Mexico retreat.
I feel like I do all the talking before the retreat. Right. I feel like I do half the talking during the retreat. And then after the retreat, everybody else talks.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've got almost everyone has agreed to come on to the...
Right. We're going to have to pair them up in groups. Otherwise, we're going to be like 12 weeks into this.
Yeah. No, so it was really nice to hear her interpretation as she got a chance to walk away from the retreat, get on her planes, get to where she needed to go and settle in. And I was just really blown away how
life-changing,
how she said that, because the older we get, we use that very minimally.
Oh, yeah. And you could see that there was something activated in her. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening in to this episode of Astrological Intentions. We would love to hear your feedback. Email me, alex@intentionbeats.com. Leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast. And, of course, share this podcast with some family and friends. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars, it's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story of you. The story of you, the story of you.